This is Dave Pellegrinelli at TitleSearch.com, talking today about easements on real estate and how they may affect a buyer or foreclosure investor. An easement is a durable interest in real estate, similar to a mortgage or even ownership. There is a significant difference is a non-possessory interest, which means that it's not like a lease or ownership where the owner of the easement has possession of the property. They just have a very specific right of use of that property. A typical example is an easement of a driveway across an adjacent property to allow access to a landlocked property. The two main types of easements are, first, an easement appurtenant, which is a right that flows to an adjacent parcel, which is called the dominant parcel. So if you have an easement on a property that you own given to an adjacent parcel, that would be an appurtenant easement. Again, a good example is a driveway or some other access across your property. Second, there is a popular type of easement called an easement in gross, very commonly used by utility companies to allow water lines or cabling or power lines to cross one property to go to a subdivision or to go to another area. The other difference is an easement in gross flows to a person or entity, not to another property. An easement appurtenant flows to an adjacent parcel, which is called the dominant parcel. A right-of-way easement could be either. It could be either an easement in gross, if the right-of-way allows a person to cross the property to maybe access a beach or to a body of water. A right-of-way could be an easement appurtenant if it allows a driveway or specific use of a property to get to the adjacent parcel. Easements can be created in several ways. It can be created by deed or documented establishment using a grantor-grantee, just like a deed or a mortgage would. It can be dedicated in a subdivision plat, where there's easements that are prescribed for utilities or for common areas, that type of thing. They can be implied easements, where access may have been used to get to a landlocked property or to get to some other body of water or some other parcel. A prescriptive easement can be applied similar to adverse possession, where if there's been a trail or a path used to get to a certain place across a property, that can be prescriptive in a claim on the property where the path is. Buyers should be on the lookout for easements across any properties they are considering. This is particularly important for foreclosure investors. You will not normally have access to a survey which might show the easements. So a good title search and a specific easement search should be done to make sure there are no easements on the property that you're looking at. More importantly, to make sure that you don't need an easement to get to your property, either a right-of-way or maybe it's a beach or resort property that has access to a body of water or access to some other entertainment. Easements are different from other property rights in that they are non-possessory, meaning that the owner of the easement does not have ownership or does not have possession of the property like they would with a lease or ownership. They just have a very specific use of that property. Easements can affect the property value if they conflict with, for example, desirable building sites. If there's an easement that might push a setback of a building location to a position where it wouldn't work, that might be something to look at. Easements can also be used for conservation of historic design elements, waterway management, and architecture. So a buyer of a property should make sure that if those are issues that they may want to consider in renovation, that there's no easements that would either restrict that or prohibit it altogether. Any uses of the property that are important to the buyer or foreclosure investor should be verified to make sure that the easements for those are documented by deeded rights or by easements. For example, beach access, boat ramp access, those kind of things should be verified. Again, easements are something that are an important part of property ownership. If there's an easement on a property which makes the property valuable in a certain way, they should be verified by any prospective buyer or investor.